What's good? It's your boy, Dirtbag Dan. Welcome to the Counterproductive Podcast. This is a brand new podcast where random people get together and talk about random shit. Today we have some of my favorite people on earth. Producer of the Dirtbag Dan Show, comedian Rory Campbell. Two of my favorite comedians on the planet Earth, Pete Munoz and Shannon Murphy, ladies and gentlemen. Chia. So,
we all got quiet. I felt like we were supposed to say something cool.
I was gonna something, but
Biggity bang.
I'm used to dealing with rappers, and right at that
we
point
have
they
like
go,
a little promo. That's what I'm saying.
"What's good? It's your boy." You know what I mean? And they pop in with all that
Imagine
shit.
we just were silent.
Intro.
What's good?
No
It's
jingles.
your boy.
What
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
This Money Pete.
Comics are famously bashful.
Lack of Money Pete.
So, I think like the format of this podcast, I wanted to do like just super general topics that anyone could relate to and anyone could like have a bunch of shit to say about, and just get comedians together to talk about them because motherfuckers are funny. But today I woke up and more fucking crazy shit with the president. Some dude in Times Square drives a fucking car into like fucking 22 people and kills somebody. And then Chris Cornell hangs himself like randomly after a performance. And it
Not
just
unrelated.
Sold out.
well, look. Well, this is they're not unrelated in this sense.
He was so bummed out.
It sounds crazy when I just say all those things like they relate to each other. But the reality is that we live in a world today where there's too much fucking information, and every single day you wake up and there's another tragedy and there's another celebrity death and there's another major event in the government. So I wanted to talk today about what it's like being a comedian in the age of too much information. Like, you know, like, I mean, just starting off with.
Well, I would start with the Chris Cornell thing came out,
Yeah.
and instantly my timeline just filled with like the illest, like insensitive. Like, I think Cedric at one point was like, he posted this thing like, "Yay, I finally get to listen to fucking Spoon Man again." Like, that was it. That was a whole post. So it's all comedians just doing like trying to like
The most popular
get
song.
the most like get like the first fucking joke out about it, and it's just horrible. So 2 minutes into it, I'm like, oh, that's terrible, and then I'm like, oh my god. Just
and that's what
instantly-
it is. It becomes this like race to the joke. You know what I mean?
But
There was
they're
a
not
bunch
very
today.
good jokes.
I saw Sean Boyles post something and then apologize for it, then unapologize
Oh, it's
for
very
it.
Sean-like though.
Nah, Sean's a shit.
Yeah,
Sean's a
I only look
homie.
tough.
Sean's a homie. Oh, come on, Sean's a homie. Come on.
I give him shit.
You know.
But just
But that's what I'm saying though. Like, it'll be like that. Like your timeline just fills up with all that shit, and then you're going to like an open mic or something, and if it's like the day of, it's going to be nothing but
Well,
right.
word got out last night, like around 11. Because Chicago, he was in Detroit, right? Maybe that.
Yeah, and they're
maybe
3
that has
hours
something to
ahead,
do
right?
with it.
No shit, yeah, right,
Yeah,
the
so like
press
around like 11 o'clock midnight.
Yeah,
and then,
yeah.
And then
right,
everybody with jobs the next morning, they're like, "All right, I was in bed by 11, so I
Were
didn't
you guys at-
listen
Right,
until-
exactly.
I didn't know anything until the morning."
did anyone know at the caravan last night? Was anybody doing new fucking Soundgarden jokes last night?
We were like out after.
Speaking
like,
of
3 in the
rusty
morning, we were like,
cages.
oh, fuck.
How
Like, oh,
soon
no.
is too soon? Really?
No,
when it comes to
with
that
like struggling open mic comics, not at all. Like, immediately is just okay because
Yeah.
nobody fucking cares. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
But then there's always those guys.
You know?
If you're posting on my page or your page, just go in and delete me now.
Well,
So
the Sean Boyles post was interesting because he's involved in a lot of different things. So he has a lot of different people in his life. So all the comedians were like, aha, okay, all right, that's funny, like whatever, haha. And even like people were jumping in, like adding like tags and shit.
shit? Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
there's like other like
his
real
musician
sensitive.
friends?
No, but like there's probably people that like Chris Cornell changed their life, like helped them in a really difficult time, and so they were like all hurt by it. And so Sean had to be like, hey, like I guess I'm sorry, not really. Like
Yeah.
sorry your butt hurt.
You got me through the 90s.
does that work?
What was the
Their
joke?
2
I didn't
albums
read
got
it.
you
Well,
through
I didn't
10
read it
years.
either.
Yeah, I didn't read the joke.
I
but
didn't read it
read
either.
The
Yeah.
next post, the long one, where like you should joke about anything.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
honestly, that's kind of
That's
what
the only
read
one
too.
I saw.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
see the real joke.
Maybe he deleted it.
A lot of those. There's a lot of like.
If
those,
we had a research team, we would they'd be on that shit. Right now.
on it, but there's a lot of those like posts.
Hold on,
like,
it's coming in my ear.
That's the sentiment that comes out is that like
just getting
you
the
just
sentiment.
fire off the first like insensitive fucking joke that you
Right
can
away.
think of,
Right
and
away.
then after like the immediate internet backlash from all of your friends and family, you
Well-
go, oh, hey, delete post. Hey guys, sorry
Right
about
away.
that shit. Or you should
Yeah.
be able to say whatever the fuck you want.
I
you know
think
what
of
I mean?
him, even if I don't post it, I think of it in my head right away. And I go, oh, yeah, that's like, Like,
Oh, yeah.
I could probably say this one now. Like when Stuart Scott passed,
Yeah, that's been like
right,
years.
right away. I go, oh,
Hasn't it been years?
Yeah,
Like 2
that's
years? Okay, I
within
think it's
a-
cool.
like,
Stuart
so
And if you're on
he's a
ESPN, I
reporter
think like
for
a month and a
ESPN.
half is
And, like,
probably
That's
fine.
why we didn't know.
Yeah, and so like right
I'm
away,
a stoner and you're a
right
lady.
away I go, oh, so they're hiring at ESPN. Like that's
they're
what I
house cat
thought in my
parents.
head.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like
yeah.
right away, and I was like, I'm not gonna post this.
No, what'd you say? I'm sorry. I was talking
As soon as he
he
passed away, I was like, oh, so that they're hiring at ESPN.
There's a job.
position open. You know.
You know,
Some-
motherfuckers
some
were
fools.
Well,
thinking that in their head.
you've been doing this the longest. Like, what's your like general advice on that? Is there? You just play by ear. It doesn't matter.
You
right?
play it by ear. Yeah.
Doesn't matter,
You
right?
play it by ear. Yeah.
And is like Facebook the best place to like test your fucking new super topical humor jokes? Because
I never
feel
get.
like,
Okay, so I don't get that. Like the like Facebook open mic shit that happens where someone's trying to run material on Facebook and you're kind of like, eh. Why would
Sometimes-
you put that? Like
Sometimes I'll post something and people will open mic off of the topic that I
Yeah.
said, which is the most annoying shit.
I always feel like it's like if I'm gonna say a joke on stage, I'm not gonna say it on Facebook.
Well, I will.
You will?
Like I will.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
like kind of see like if it gets a reaction. Sometimes I don't know if something's all that funny. Like my opener.
Okay.
I was like, is this funny to my sister? And I was like, I'll post it on Facebook. And then it got like 100 something like.
So
that.
you're
I
like,
was
all
just
right, this
I
is it.
guess
Shit.
This is funny.
So
All
that's-
you need
Shannon
is
Shannon is
I
more
didn't
booked than
know.
any
To
of us, so
validate.
maybe I should start doing that.
So
You're gonna
that's
see a lot
That's
of
not
jokes
true.
from me from now on.
that's a reality though. That's obviously what motherfuckers are doing then, right? You're posting the joke because you're trying to see if it is gonna get enough reaction to be worth
yeah,
telling on
actually,
stage.
There
like
are-
if you posted something and only
Yeah.
one of them got like 88 comments and like a 200 likes, you're like, this is probably fire.
Yeah, for
This is
sure.
probably something.
Yeah, I
to
mean,
this.
fuck should
the
test it
ones
over here.
that I will do on stage are the ones that get like 2 or 3 likes. I'll just put it out there and then I'll just think and I'll look at it and go, nobody liked that. Nobody liked
No,
that.
Pete's just
nobody
hoping-
liked that."
Pete's
and then
just-
I'll go, oh, this is why, and I'll go boom.
Oh, there you
know?
go.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like, but 9 times out of 10, if I put it online or I put it on Facebook, I don't use it on stage.
So okay,
yeah, it's sort of out there, right?
Yeah,
it's sort of
once
like
it's out there.
without turning this into a political podcast.
Oh, shit.
The
So is
president is
Syria.
into constant like fucking like storm of shit, and ever since like the election, I've been like, okay, I'm done with the Donald Trump jokes. You know what I mean?
Before, yeah.
It's
I stopped with the pussy grabbing joke. It was over then.
I
Like
feel
it was
like-
over that day.
I feel like it's hackish, right? But then at the same time, it's like unless you do political comedy, you know what I mean? And it's almost like if you're at that point, like once like dude's the president and every day some shit's going down, well, it's like cool if that's what you do, you got fucking material every day. But for me, I'm not gonna like just jump in and be like uber political today because I fucking think something matters or what someone's talking about.
Daily show back Dan.
Yeah,
Like,
Daily
Yeah,
Show back
yeah.
then. No, I'm
Yeah.
cool off that shit.
Show
you know what I
back
mean?
down.
Fuck. But what's your guys' like rule
Actually,
of thumb for Donald Trump fucking?
No. It's a quick sidebar on the. Speaking of this, the dude who was the San Jose Improv winner years ago, the guy who did the dinner recently.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Fucking, it's
dinner.
super Arab. Fucking
Hassan Minhaj.
And he's local,
Minhaj,
right?
yeah,
He's
there
a
you go.
Bay guy. Is he
Yeah,
a Bay
yeah.
guy?
He's a hardcore Bay guy, yeah.
He was just on that NPR Terry Gross shit today.
Oh,
That's
no
like
shit.
that's like a fucking big deal.
He did the celebrity NBA All-Star.
Yeah,
this year
just
too,
saying, just saying.
Hassan,
And me and Dirt were in the.
Hassan was dope.
the recent
Hassan was out here like
competition.
all the time.
We didn't win
grinding.
though, so we don't
Yeah.
get anything.
Punchline SF guy, Hassan. Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah,
But
man.
so there's an example of a guy who's sort of like
It's
super political and it's
That's what I was gonna say.
expected.
Yeah,
you show up
exactly.
and it's expected.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us have sort of
Not
go
me.
into that territory, right? Like,
I'm like comfortable saying that I've been doing this for like a short enough time to not know exactly
Hell yeah, I'm
what
right
the
there
fuck
with you.
I'm doing up there.
Yeah,
Not like I don't know like how to tell jokes that are funny, but I haven't found my like lane or direction per
like your
se.
intent of your
And it's
persona.
definitely not political. So like I'm fully
No way.
steering away.
Yeah.
And no matter how like ridiculous the shit I see on the television is, or like ridiculous like our whole situation is, it's to me it's like that's the kind of humor I'm gonna laugh about with y'all like in private conversations,
Yeah.
not that I'm gonna take on stage. You know what I mean?
That's what we talk about outside the open mic.
Yeah, exactly. You know?
Sidewalks.
And even then, it's like, fuck, man. I've seen people. I've seen, especially like Trump humor, be so polarizing for audiences, especially when you're in like the improv setting, because you're almost guaranteed based on like the who voted in this country or just like how many people voted for the dude who's the actual president, that at least like 20% of the audience in the Bay Area, maybe 10, maybe 5, someone's gonna be there that's like offended by that fucking joke.
And I almost like because it's the Bay Area. It's like 90% liberal.
Yeah.
It's not that they're like disagreeing with you. They just sort of tighten up because they're like, oh, we didn't know it was gonna be like a political thing tonight. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like I came out to
yeah.
a showcase at the Improv on a Wednesday.
I've been hearing about this
like
all
I really
day,
don't want to hear like
about it now.
a B- political like fucking like point of view.
And
You
you're
know what I mean?
essentially calling me stupid.
And we all hate like we all just move on. Yeah.
That's
No,
that's the
you know-
the brunt of the most of those jokes like rely on the backbone of like, oh yeah, but y'all are stupid
Yeah.
because you voted for this. Stuff.
Yeah.
So that it feels like it's like and not that I'm like scared to do I don't know, to like cross the line with the audience, but not that line, not that way, you know, like I'd rather like offend someone and then bring them back because it's funny on some like general shit than on some like political or religious or something where you're like dealing with someone's beliefs as opposed to like some shit they think or like their sensibilities, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's been jokes about the wall for like probably 10 years now. George Lopez's joke, and then
Oh,
Mencia,
it
that's
was so
at least 10
yeah,
years,
yeah,
you know.
totally.
So like,
Ari
Why?
Shaffir, right?
Why
That was an
even-
Ari
why-
Shaffir joke that
Yeah.
Mencia stole or something.
Yeah.
I don't know too. You spend all day, you're at work, and some fucking jerk off at work has already said like the 3 hack shit jokes. Like,
did you hear what happened to Trump? Did you hear what Trump said?
He finally fucked up. He went too far this time. And you're like, we said
Yeah.
that last Tuesday.
And they
we
just
said
be
it the
like-
Tuesday before.
Yeah, like one.
He's still there.
One guy would just post on Facebook, impeach. Oh yeah, that's where it
I
starts.
guess.
That's where it
Well,
starts.
Yeah,
all
no,
right,
we're all
let's
with
go
you.
from
It's
there.
just like-
Starts with this like.
let's
right?
wait
I was
till it
waiting for
happens.
someone to say it. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's all.
It's like when people talk a little bit too much about sports. It's kind of the same thing. You have 2 adult males talking about like
That's me. Right
Cespedes. Like Cespedes was fucking crazy last night. You're like, yeah, okay. Like that's
How
2
crazy
grown men
was he?
talking about
We don't
another
know.
grown man. Did you do
Rompers.
anything last night? Oh, you watched SportsCenter. Cool. You know what I mean? And so politics are very much the same. It's like people have these opinions, and it's like, well, you're not in Washington, so clearly you were either watching CNN or Fox, and everything you're saying now is probably just mirroring some shit you heard yesterday.
Yeah.
Just
yeah,
like
yeah.
sports, like the same shit. They'll sort of parrot back some shit they heard on,
Yeah. And that's the last.
on some ESPN SportsCenter shit. And
So
they're
for
just
the
like,
same
oh,
reason I don't tell
that's
those
gross.
jokes, the same reason I don't like fucking be like talking politics or my opinions or my beliefs about where this country should be going on a podcast where it's like, bro, there's professional motherfuckers that can do that shit.
Yeah.
Fools are not listening to fucking Dirtbag Dan shit to be like, oh man, tell us about your insight about the government.
My
Yeah,
Mount
that's
Pleasant.
what I think.
He's
like, I was
uncouth,
like,
but,
I'm like,
surprisingly
there's better
sophisticated.
people to talk about this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My
I
Mount
was
Pleasant
like,
education isn't gonna help anybody right now. I'm just gonna be quiet.
I'm not solving this problem.
And then it's like, okay, and then there's like the fucking tragedy shit, right? Whereas like, when is too soon? You know what I'm saying? Because it's
Well, is there
seems
any
like,
joke for the New York shit? Do you guys see any? I didn't see any. I saw a lot of Chris Cornell jokes.
No. Usually people lean
But that's
off.
like a tragedy.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about like something like that, right? Like there was very little. Like I saw none of the comedians really kind of going on the New York thing. Right?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
What New
So
York
that's
thing?
I think.
Okay, so in New York today, in Times Square, some
This
like
is probably why they didn't hear about it.
someone who
Yeah.
had like multiple DWIs, so not like on some like crazy terrorist.
It's probably a
shit,
comedian.
just drove his fucking
Richie
car.
Casper. We found him.
It was
What's up,
I guess it
Dickie?
was like a former Navy dude, and he drove his car into like 20, and it was just like down the street, like in 22 people injured and murdered somebody. You know what I mean? Killed somebody, I suppose. Man,
But the sort of wrinkle to it is it sort of mirrors a lot of the terrorist attacks.
Oh,
in Europe.
100 yeah,
so
that's what I'm saying.
Initially, the people like they're doing it.
yeah, that's what I
finally
thought.
doing
I
it.
thought that's immediately when I seen that, I was
That's
like,
what
oh
everyone thought.
shit, someone rented a U-Haul.
But it was
and
probably
fucking
just an
went ham.
open mic comic coming home from like a Woodham's type place at 3 a.m. Who
Richie
like
Casper.
who just was like, oh no.
But yeah, no, it's
Oh, he doesn't drive.
that when it comes to that shit, it's like,
This is why.
all right, so
It's
is
on a
it
New York City bus somehow.
is it
He, like,
fucking
commentated.
there's so much information, there's so much every single day there's a new tragedy. I thought in that Dave Chappelle special, like one of my favorite parts is when he's talking about is like, oh, we watched the Challenger and everybody cried, and now there's like a Challenger every fucking day. You know what I mean? So it's almost like not even like, obviously like the shit ain't funny, you know, but fools be telling jokes about all sorts of off, you know, Holocaust jokes and whatever, right? Like when is too soon, whatever. At the end of the day, there's not enough time doesn't ever build up for it to be like, oh, we could start fucking telling jokes about this shit. Because then some new shit happens that's just like the last shit fucking tomorrow.
There's
you know?
there's times too where someone's just so like fucking sideways. There's really nothing to talk about with it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like that kind of shit. What are you gonna talk about? Some guy was super fucked up or something and just ran over people. Like, well, let's move on.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying, right? You know what I mean? So I think it's not even a question of too soon. It's just like there's literally no content there.
Well, I don't know if there's too soon. Like, there's like not funny, but I don't
There's
know if there's
definitely
too soon.
a lot
So
of not
again-
funny going
again-
around. Yeah.
Again,
Like, I
Shannon's
think
booked
you
more
can-
than any of us, so
That's
she's
not
probably
true.
right. She's probably right.
That's
She's
true.
probably
No,
right.
it's
That's
not.
totally true. That's totally true.
Yeah,
so
I just think
no,
that,
but
like,
it's either funny or it's not. You're saying,
Yeah.
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 Awesome.
But we all know how long it takes to perfect the joke to use on stage.
Okay.
You know, so it's way different.
Yeah, and it's
You
like
know?
hard to test out jokes that are fucking that like risque because
Yeah.
they get like you can never find the funny in it or work it to a place that's good because you're offending people like right off top.
If
You know what I mean?
it's hack, it's like, oh, let me just be a Patriots fan because they're gonna win. So let me just put something real simple out there to let people know that I'm
Go
funny
Dubs!
right now. I'm funny.
Go
That's-
Dubs!
Yeah, that's why I'm doing this.
Well,
you know?
Shannon or Pete, you guys ever remember trying some shit that like you clearly felt like it was too soon? Like after you said it, you were like, "Ooh, that didn't go well."
I don't really do any topical humor.
No.
Nah.
I don't do a lot of topical humor. I
don't
feel like
either.
I can't even think like anytime I'm doing topical humor, it's like legit crowd work
But
because it's like
okay,
something
okay.
about some shit that just happened.
So flip
today.
side, something huge happens, and you're at an open mic, and 4 comics go, and no one's talked about the nuclear bomb in Oklahoma tonight. Like nobody.
Good. That's a good mic.
Nobody's
That's a good
bringing
mic.
it up.
That's a good mic. Yeah.
Well, like okay, I have to relate it to
Like what if it happens
my
like
other-
that day?
yeah, right.
Like,
Well, I like.
is it weird not to reference it if it's a big enough event?
No, when I'm at a mic or a show and I see someone talking about something topical, I'll enjoy watching it more than like watching the same joke I've seen over.
Yeah,
Okay.
100%.
But that's just like personal, like
Yeah.
oh, I've seen their material.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's for a
yeah,
very
So it's
yeah.
kind
different
of
reason.
fun to like listen to something else.
And I'm always
But-
stoked to watch people try shit as
Yeah.
opposed to just being like taking the easy route or whatever. I don't know. But I don't know that necessarily like I'm ever super impressed with topical humor. I always like I said, I have to compare it to the other thing that I have experience in with the battle rap shit. When something happens like that, you can almost assume that everybody is going to write a bar about it, right?
Of course.
So now you're just trying to make your bar better than everybody else's bar, and it becomes a competition. I've noticed that comedy's not like that. Like people will stay away from the joke more than like you know everybody at the open mic is going to do the joke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like at a big battle event, something big happens, especially tragedy, because battling is like, I'm going to do this to you a lot of the time. So if it's like, I'm going to do
I'm
you
coming
like,
after
yeah,
you.
yeah. So there's so many like references that you could relate it to like tragic events throughout history.
Well, remember who? Okay, so who was it? Cossack that did the Boston Marathon shit.
yeah.
That's a perfect example.
Yeah.
It
There you
happened
go.
like 2 days before,
yeah.
and he hit the punchline was about the Boston Marathon.
And we were in Massachusetts.
Yeah, but that has a different. But that has a different function because with the battle rap shit, it's like there's so many writtens. The idea that he clearly just wrote that and it was like kind of like.
Oh, so it made it,
yeah,
there's
it's
like a
very
layer.
different- I don't know if the analogy's there. You know what I mean?
No,
For that
I
reason,
get you.
know what I
Like
mean?
there's not as
Yeah.
much of a, like, I don't know. It's still the same thing.
He wrote that 2 days ago.
It's just like
whoa.
what Shannon was saying. Like I'd rather see someone try new material than
Yeah.
be on their old shit.
Or
like,
even before when she said it's either funny or it's not. Too.
yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know.
And
And that,
sometimes their new material isn't funny. I'm like, oh, this is bad.
yeah.
Yeah, abort.
But like,
abort.
that's like
Pull
all
up.
comedy.
It's
That's
not
just
funny.
like
Pull up.
The idea might be funny, but the new
That's what
material.
those open
sometimes
mics. That's
those,
why
like-
the open mics are fucking useful. bro.
sometimes you'll see at an open mic like automatic light if you mention. like,
Oh yeah.
whatever.
Oh yeah. Bro, I
Yeah.
did a show
I do that
and the
all the
guy
time.
said,
Yeah.
if anybody does any child molester jokes, then I'll immediately light you. And I'm like, yo, is that happened? Is that like a thing that happens regularly
comics are like, no.
enough to where you had to? And he was like, yeah, it happened
It just
before.
happened to be in
Oh,
the
Like,
there
all right,
goes
cool.
my, like,
molestation capital
new
of the
5.
world.
There goes my hot new 5. all these Chris Hansen jokes out the window.
I got like 6 bullet points. Fuck.
Yeah, dude, no. And then like the other question is like when it comes to all this shit, like a lot of the crazy shit with the police and obviously murdering people and then getting away with it. Do you think like all of the shit that happens and all of the shit that we have access to is just on account of this, and that we have like so everybody's filming everything now all the time, so it's like there's no. Are cops shooting people more, or are people just filming cops shoot people more? Are people, running fucking doing crazy tragedy shit, like running cars into groups more, or is this just like, I don't know.
First of all, there's more people now.
Yeah,
If you ever look at like a population chart, there's more people now than there's ever been. And every fucking 5 or 10 years, it's growing at an alarming rate.
Exponential,
So
right?
yeah, so we have this, but we also have about like 20 million more people. You know what I mean? So there's a little bit of that happening too. We're all stepping on each other's dicks all the time. And sometimes that means a bus goes through New York. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Fuck.
You know what I mean?
But none of those people that
See, a
died in
topical
New
joke.
York,
It was
like, wrote a
shitty.
song.
We shouldn't do
feel
them.
like-
We just shouldn't do them.
I think
We
it's
should
because
wait.
I think it's because
Too
parents,
soon and too
like
unfunny.
can't spank their kids anymore because they go to jail. Like kids need to be afraid.
I've
of
seen
their
some
parents
kids get beat up.
and then respect everything on the way out. Like kids are fucking pieces of shit these days.
Yeah, and a lot
Like,
of the
like,
wild video is
dude,
kids filming shit.
Dude, that's all it is. It's like kids are just fucking.
Imagine if you had the shit
I don't
that
know.
they
I don't
had
know
in
if I
high
believe
school.
that.
Not
I don't know
all
if I'm
kids.
in
Not
with
all
that.
kids. I know you have
People
kids.
are
but I
treating
mean, like-
millennials like punching bags. Like that's a thing. Like, oh, millennial,
lot of
they've never
people-
seen anything. It's like they lived through like a depression, like an economic recession, almost the worst one ever, like an 11-year fucking war. You know what I mean? Like this shit, like an explosion of technology and shit.
I was raised by a single mom on the east side of San Jose. You can't explain recession to me. You know, like oh wow, poor
No,
you.
no. But I'm saying this they say that generation's soft, and
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, are they though? Like it's been kind
It's
of a
just-
wild fucking ride the last
It's
20
just
years.
so different.
Yeah.
You know, kids are just way different now.
Like they got no manners. They don't get punished enough. Kind of thing.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. They
Have
made
to
it
li-
like
hey, they have to live in the specter of this shit too. Like you're at a house party now. I would imagine, like if you're like in a high school
Well, I
house
coach-
party.
oh,
like,
all the
you
wild
can't-
shit that
Yeah,
we used
no.
to do. You
You-
wouldn't do now because you
wouldn't do
think someone would be
because of
filming
this
you.
shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right away. I
Right?
coach at a high school.
Dan would
and
not be peeing in the closet of fucking some
Shannon's
girl's
just
house.
titties out, spraying champagne all over the place.
Now she's
like-
in the corner with a Cosmo, but like this is delightful.
I
Shall we-
coach at
shall
a
we
high
take a
school, dude,
selfie?
And everyone says the N word now. Everybody does.
What do you mean everybody?
What-
I've seen
don't say
like
All right, not everybody.
everybody pee. Everybody?
Filipinos. All right, let's just go. Dude,
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
a thing.
Like I'll turn around,
That's a thing.
I'll be on the track, and I'll hear it, and I'll turn around. I don't even know who to get mad at. Like who said that? Like, and dude, I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, so you're in a high school
I'm-
all the time.
Now I'm at a different college now.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
Okay,
at a
okay.
college now, but yeah, when I was coaching for high school, everybody's saying it, and I turn around like, what?
Wow.
It's
But
crazy.
that was a pretty ghetto high school.
like the high school right down the street from your house.
Yeah. Well, I didn't go to that high school because my mom didn't want me to get pregnant. So
There you go.
Mount pregnant.
A lot of Asians there. A lot
Now
of Asians
pregnant.
there. Nobody got pregnant when I was there.
Yeah, but
that says nothing about me.
I definfinely feel like
The pregnant girl in our class was awesome.
access to
Of course,
information.
She was like really cool.
Access to information is like there and fuck man, you do so much shit. Like when I was a kid, we were limited in like what our planning, you know what I mean, and like what we could actually get away with. But I will say this, like we would like meet up in big ass groups in parking lots and then go off and do shit. And you don't see that anymore because kids just connect on the 1-to-1 and then like go to each other's fucking houses or whatever. It was like
These
we
kids
had
are,
to go
no,
to
these
like
kids are still like me now in parking
Do
lots.
you see
and shit.
kids'
They are.
Instagrams?
They are.
Like
They're just like, let's meet at the
My
parking
niece's
lot.
Instagram.
That's
you guys
Safeway,
all
blah.
sound so old.
My Instagram for my niece, it'll be a
Kids
picture of
these
sunglasses, like 100
We are old. We don't sound old. We
188
look,
likes of
feel,
just
and exist in
sunglasses.
an old state.
yeah, in all fairness, fuck. Like I'm I'm 34. I just turned 34, right? I say I'm about to be 35 because to me that's such like a big ass fucking like
Really? Are you-
milestone
yeah.
in your life or whatever. Like,
Gives a fuck.
but yeah, I do. I
At
feel
this-
like I'm
at this rate.
old. You know what I'm saying?
The 40 is like, but you're like, can't wait to be 21. 20 others, like,
Oh, it hurts.
it's like Mission Peak.
And
Dude, some dude got bit by a rattlesnake there.
Yeah,
Did you
he
hear
was-
that?
yeah.
He leaned back on the Mission Peak rock. If you've ever climbed Mission Peak, it's like a local thing. You
I've
climb.
never climbed.
It's like a
Mission
mountain.
Peak. That's why I don't
Takes
go up
forever,
there.
and you
'Cause I
like
hear they
you
got
like
snakes.
all
seriously
of us
question your
mountain
like
climbers
your
are-
cardio
yeah.
health
That's
when you
what
get to
you
the
get
top.
for being.
This guy got
healthy.
to the top, leaned back, and got bit by a rattlesnake. And the problem with that, aside from the rattlesnake,
is
bite,
that you have to climb down?
you are so far, and you like it takes like an hour to go, right? 45 minutes.
Not
something
me.
Like that?
Half
Why you
hour.
asking
Okay,
me?
shit.
Jeez.
Dude, he's a track coach.
Why are you asking
I
He's a
Pete?
track
I
coach.
get there before the snakes. wake up.
Don't let him fool you. He's got technique, like breathing.
He's
techniques and
got
shit.
technique. The form will
Definitely got my
carry
breathing.
him through.
I gotta,
But when I
have
saw
my,
that story, all
if
I
I don't
could
have
think
my
about-
breathing down, I die.
Yeah,
So,
all I could think about is he gets bit, and he's just looking down over San Jose because it's like or Fremont.
Yeah.
And oh man,
Gotta have
So
those
bad.
guile boots, you know, when you go hiking.
So,
Yeah.
kind of like back in the fucking direction we started. You travel a lot. You got the fucking Oregon hat on. You'd always go up north,
love it up
which
there.
is like the last bastion of fucking white America. You know what I mean? Like Honkyville for sure. Like, do the jokes change like dramatically like when you get up there? You know what I mean? Like in that direction as far as like.
Do they get whiter?
It's
He's
a
trying to
it's
ask.
a
Do they get more Trumpy, less Trumpy? You know what I
Dude.
mean? Like
it's a trip. Like it's
'Cause
it
I feel
goes
like
both ways.
fools
You can
will
easily make fun of
flash.
them up there.
yeah, and fools will flash though, like in the wrong place if you're
Yeah.
like with the crazy Trump bars in like Washington.
You don't run your Norteño set up there.
They have Mexicans up there, so it works.
It does. Okay, no, it's good to know.
Like it's a 10-hour drive, so you see stuff as you see like Trump billboards and stuff. My last night we were in Washougal, and I was there was some sticker that I saw, and I was like, yeah, Trump this and that. This guy's in the bathroom, old school white guy with a freaking cowboy hat goes, yeah, fuck Trump, and I go, dude, like this is the craziest thing. Like you would think that he
Yeah.
would be all about it, and so plus we're in like bathroom, you know.
Yeah.
And but like
Conversations
you
are always
just
weird in
be
the bathroom.
surprised you
they're
don't have to
sort
go
of
too
banned,
far.
actually.
You know, they're weed states. They're weed
Yeah,
states.
that
That's
too.
true,
That
that's
too.
true.
They're weed
West
states.
Coast for
Yeah,
sure, right?
dude.
Like even if it's still like
Didn't even think about that.
the most Caucasian
Dude,
place
Oregon
in the country.
And Washington
Yeah, you were
are
on the
some of the
he was
coolest
on the
states.
cotton.
Oh,
mouth tour.
I love
Some
it
of
up
the
there.
coolest.
You were on the
states.
Cottonmouth tour, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I was the only one. We'd wake up and they just start smoking right away, and
Just boom.
I get pissed. I go, "Do you really need to be
like
smoking
right now,
at 9
Come
o'clock
on.
in the morning?
we have goals.
We're at an intersection and there's cops everywhere, and you're smoking." Like I was, and
You're
I,
like judgmental.
to the point where like I would just start to just do it on purpose. Like, you guys suck. You've been smoking for 6 hours and you're not high from the last hour that you've been, you know, just like you guys got shitty weed. That's what it is.
Nah, it's all high powered too. It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's weird how that shit works. And that is a big thing too. Like it's almost like we live in a different country in California and I guess the West Coast in general with the legal weed shit. Because outside of like popping into Colorado, and I've done comedy out in Colorado, and it's very similar to the Bay Area. And
Oh, yeah.
it was and fools are just smoking blunts out front of the club and shit. You know what I mean? It totally reminded me of like doing a show in San Francisco, doing a show or whatever. But I've also like done like East Coast shows and shit where it's just the vibe is way different. You know?
You
what
ever
I
get
mean?
out there? You ever get out east?
The
Close.
furthest I've been is like Texas.
Okay.
We did
Shannon?
Kansas City. I've
No,
been
I
to
haven't
Kansas.
been out of California.
No.
we did
I never did comedy outside of California.
we did Massachusetts.
Holyoke,
shit.
Mass.
Yeah. Well, not just
413.
not just Holyoke too. We did Cambridge, for the second massacre thing, and it was definitely like Trump signs everywhere, like just a completely different vibe.
But they're like Massachusetts is like known to be super liberal.
Yeah, for sure,
know.
right? Like
Like in this
especially
weird way, they're like racist and liberal.
well, especially in that area too, like the Cambridge,
Right.
because it's like
Yeah.
the college area or whatever.
Yeah. So you get a lot of like Democrat. You're not seeing a lot of Trump shit unless you get out into like upstate. You know what I mean? Like kind of in the rural
You
kind of parts.
adjust.
Like if there's snowmobiles in your town, you're gonna see a Trump
Yeah.
sign. Like that's for sure.
But
You
you
know what I mean?
adjust wherever you go. Like it's like.
But they're
oh,
like
Are
the-
you not funny in other states? No, your humor is gonna.
Yeah.
Uh,
But like
Your
you said, you're driving
aura,
up. You're
yeah.
driving up. You're like taking shit in.
You're driving up and
yeah.
you're looking at stuff.
So
you
if
know?
you're like, you can kind of
Just
like
natural.
yeah, at least reflect on like, hey, I'm new in your town, and this is what I thought was
Yeah.
funny. And if it's like, if you're halfway decent, they're gonna relate to it and maybe laugh, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We did.
it's fun. That's a good challenge. You know, you want that.
Yeah, for sure. And it
Why
was
that shit makes you better, probably, right?
Yeah.
anytime you get an opportunity to like do in front of different audiences and try, like I even like going down to LA and doing the jokes that I do at all the shit here, I feel like it gets a different
You just did
reaction there.
Hooters and some other shit in LA.
Oh,
Look at
Ice
those
House.
Hooters.
Oh, the Hooters,
House and Hooters.
Hollywood Boulevard. There's a Hooters that they do an open mic at, and it's
It's like a
fucking
special
awesome.
Hooters, right? It's like it's not like your normal Hooters.
Well, it's like Hollywood Boulevard Hooters,
Every
so
Hooters
everyone
is
there is
special to
from
me.
fucking everywhere,
They're
and that was an interesting thing because like I was seeing people do, like jokes, and they were just getting like all sorts of kinds of different jokes, political jokes, fucking, nasty over the line jokes. Like, and there's little kids walking to the bathroom upstairs. And there's also like a family from Tennessee over here and like someone from Florida over here. So the reactions were so different from everybody.
You did meet Chicolateca before, so you're used to that. Kid eating a burrito, staring at you through the window. You're like, I can't do my dick shit.
Yeah.
Fuck.
No, like I said, like it's just there's a different everywhere you go. Doing material is different. I will say, like, I went to Toronto and did some of like my Mexican shit, and it was just going way. It was like,
But
there was just not enough Mexicans in Toronto.
Doesn't it
for that
make
shit
you
to work.
miss home?
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
Yeah, like I was in San Antonio doing the open mics, and I missed being back here. I was in Portland doing the open mics, and I missed being back here.
Huh.
Yeah, that's and you've been doing comedy for a long time, and you still are like consistently hitting mics and fucking working out new material and shit like that. Like
You have to, yeah.
that is it's crazy because I feel like because I do it as part of some shit I do and not like it's the whole shit I do, I always feel like I'm not doing it enough, but it's hard for me to fucking get out there. There's so many in the Bay Area, there's so many fucking opportunities. I mean, like how many mics can you hit
every night of the week, right?
except when you get to like Friday, Saturday.
Even
Yeah.
there you can find
there's
Yeah.
there's
Depends on how long
A good
you wanna
one is
drive.
Vinny's on Sacramento on Friday nights, 10 o'clock.
Shit, man. Oh, hey, very professional.
My bad.
Oh, man. I didn't even
I'm the
get to
world's
check
oldest
my
millennial.
cell phone, and yours is going
Oh,
off.
you can check
it.
I
My
can
social
see
media.
it
I
over
think that's
there.
the bathroom.
Like looking at it.
That was the bathroom call.
Oh, they told you couldn't have your cell phone. That was a lie. I'll be over here playing Snake.
No, you wouldn't be able to get my attention. I'd just be like,
Oh man, so that okay. Back to what we were talking about with fucking high school kids and having cell phones. How the fuck do teachers maintain the attention of students when they have fucking supercomputers on their fucking
Are
hips?
they allowed to have them?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
Like out?
My daughter's
Like during-
they're allowed
Just
to
that
answer
I-
Well,
the teachers.
I feel like they use them.
They try to use them, and basically what that really means is we couldn't stop it.
Yeah, because it's like
Everyone go to Google. Like
yeah.
And I think the other weird part of that is like at any moment those teachers all know they could be filmed, right? Like when we've seen
Or
some of the
replaced.
best videos in the last 5 years, like a teacher fighting a student.
Woo.
Yeah,
You know, right?
yeah,
Come on,
yeah.
those are always fire, like every time. Right?
Those are
Remember
always
that
fun.
one blonde-haired kid who just fucking lit up his fucking teacher before he walked out the door?
What they
It
need
wa-
to give teachers
Some
is,
people out there will know what I'm talking about, but it's fucking amazing.
They need to
So I think it changes the dynamic, but I don't know if in the worst way.
Well, they should give
Right?
teachers like fake cauliflower ears, so they just walk in all just like like with their ears all in.
Man, I don't
Everyone's
know.
like, dude,
I like to
would
teach
not,
and train
no
after school.
way, dude." Or just walk in with like kung fu pants, sandals, or just like some jail slippers,
Shuffle it
dude,
in.
just scared. When kids need to be scared,
Still
dude.
chained up.
Yeah.
Still chained up like chink.
Scare that little shit and then teach them about some social studies. That's the quickest way to learn through fear.
There's some teachers out there too, like put all your phones on the board.
Yeah.
Like some kind of
I
put 'em
was
in,
in,
put 'em in
uh,
the
remember having to
basket
do
at the
that in
door.
college, we all had to put our for tests. Everybody
Oh,
had to
yeah,
line
yeah.
their cell phones up
That
on the
makes
board.
sense.
But
We
here's the
didn't-
thing: sorry, don't mean to cut you
Go
off.
ahead.
And because you're like a nanny and stuff, right? It's okay. So anytime you introduce something that like a kid likes or a teenager really likes, and they really like their phones, that sort of empowers the teacher a little bit. So yeah, you got a cell phone in class, but guess what? The first thing we're gonna take away from you if you fucking are
that's
talking or doing
Yeah,
too much
yeah,
shit.
yeah,
So
It's like you want to earn
I
some
don't
cell
know.
phone time.
I'm not a teacher. I don't know shit about
Do
it, but
these
I do
5
know
math
if you were like a
problems.
halfway decent teacher, the first thing you do is zero in on these phones and be like, "You got them, but just barely." You know what I mean? Like the
Yeah, yeah,
first second you say
It's
any
about
dumb
to be
shit.
the end of school year for most kids, so they're all happy to
yeah.
pick up like their Walkmans or whatever got
Yeah.
taken away from them. Like at the end of like May, I was like, oh dude, I get that
people-
CD
yeah.
player back that was
Pete was
stolen.
picking up his Switchblade
I was
at
like,
this point.
Yo,
He's
dude,
like, "Can I get my
I'm gonna
Switchblade
get
back?"
that Bulls hat that they took away from me in September, man.
But what are kids picking up now? Like fucking fidget spinners and shit.
Yeah,
Vape pens and like
Vape pens,
USB
vape pens, and
drives.
fucking USB drives and fidget spinners and shit. It's like that fucking Fire Stick
Yo,
has.
what's up with that? I don't even
how
want to
a
know.
movie
I don't even
song.
care.
I'm gonna pick
I was
up
gonna
my-
ask what's up with
I
that
get to
fidget
pick
shit.
up
I
my
don't even
Fuck the
fucking care.
Police
I don't
shirt.
want to hear it.
So when we were in college,
Fart machine.
Unless you're in Morgantown
smartphones
and you're
weren't
picking up
like.
your American flag T-shirt.
I felt like I had like
Yeah.
the Droid
Yeah.
too. Smartphones weren't like at the fucking where they are now, to where it's like just like epic. But I had a laptop out, and I'd just be fucking, you know what I mean, doing whatever.
You had
And
a laptop in high school?
No, in college. That's
oh,
what I'm
I thought you
saying.
were gonna say in high school.
No, in when we were at Cogswell and shit.
Because I was gonna
So
be like,
I would
you
just-
had the first laptop if you had that shit in high school. It's like a Dell, like made out of concrete. You're like,
Bro,
Yeah.
don't do me dirty like
The
that.
one-
I'm older than you.
They
That's
made
why
a
I was
backpack
surprised.
for
I
it.
graduated
I
in
only questioned it because I was
2001.
like, laptops were not in the equation
Nah, yeah.
quite yet. Like they were very new.
So in college, I would be fucking around on my laptop all the time, man. I
Yeah.
barely got shit done in class.
My college roommate and I, we would sit in this one lecture hall down towards the bottom, so everything was like everybody was behind us.
Yeah.
And she would just pull up porn,
Bang,
just be like looking at nonstop. Everybody, I was like,
bang, bang.
they're not learning anything.
Yeah, for sure, dude. You're just watching the.
Yo, what's the Wi-Fi? Can we
It was-
get the Wi-Fi?
But yeah, and I think yeah, like you said, Roy, it's an interesting dynamic that like everything could be filmed, and kids are doing the maniest of shit.
Well, not only that, but you get a kid with like sort of poor judgment who's like, I could be a legend. Everyone's gonna film this. I'm gonna fight that guy.
All pimpled out.
You know what I mean? And, like strong. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like 14, like strong.
Me
And then
and,
here comes like Mr. Targonsky.
But the
who
start of
hasn't
that,
been in a gym in 32
the
years.
start of that was the calculator watch. Remember that?
Oh,
Dude, let me just.
it's all over when they allowed the calculator watch. It was the beginning of the end.
They didn't
what it
know
was, right?
technology was going to take over.
Yeah, there was a VCR watch too, the remote control. You could like program it. Yeah.
Me and Shannon were talking about this last night. Because I was talking about the YouTube channel and how like they fucking basically the views or the AdSense dropped off a bit because some of the major sponsors dropped off of YouTube because they couldn't control where their advertisements were going. And
You
it
don't,
started.
want to watch a Mercedes ad right before the beheading video?
No, well, like
Right
it's
before.
not that extreme, but I'll tell you where it started.
It might have been that
Well,
extreme.
it started in the because those channels aren't monetized, but it started in the UK where
Are
like
they not?
some of these crazy like nationalist like Brexit folks are like they have their channels are monetized and they are watched by a bunch of people. So
Alex
they're like
Jones.
some ad, yeah, exactly, like shit like
Yeah.
that. Like Alex Jones is a prime example of like someone who might say some crazy ass shit that you don't want a Johnson and Johnson ad on the front of. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but what happened was that. You know, those major advertisers pulled their shit and they're like, okay, well, YouTube needs to figure out a way to prevent that from happening. But it creates like a form of censorship because then they control like what videos get ads and what videos don't. And anything that falls under the realm of like remotely risque is going to not be on the list of stuff that is eligible for fucking advertising. You know what I mean?
It's weird because I think we all realize anyone who uses YouTube knows that they don't like. It's not like the sponsor agreed to be on that particular video.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like we all know it's separate.
Yeah,
It's
but-
weird. It's sort
and
of a weird misunderstanding. I could picture like a very old executive, like 55, making that call. We're pulling our money.
Yeah.
They're gonna equate us to this, but no one under like 40 would ever make that association at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's like any
In fact,
kind
if they
of
were smart, they would
On
only
the
want their shit
landline.
on those crazy fucking, anything that's getting views, just fucking put my shit on there.
well,
no
what
problem.
falls under like risky material? We're talking about some wild shit. I'm smoking.
I said an
fucking blunt the
ISIS
whole
like
time.
beheading video, right? That would be the worst. You wouldn't
Well,
want to be part of
yeah.
that. You wouldn't want to be part of some. Honestly, I think it's a more political shit. I think Alex Jones is probably specifically one of the people didn't want to fuck with.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. Well, anything that falls into the realm of like being polarizing, as far as like, oh, well, this is fucking. If we're Coca-Cola,
Yeah,
you know
you
what
don't
I
want
mean?
to. Yeah, you're smoking weed. They're like, we're not going to be in front of a weed podcast.
Not in fucking Nebraska.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like I don't
want-
want to.
like other places. Like
Yeah.
Coca-Cola really care.
So how do
They're
they?
just like looking for people to be like, hey, you want to?
But it is going to change. It is.
And
gonna
it's-
change
yeah, I'm thirsty
how
'cause
you
I'm
feel
fucking
about
high.
Hey,
it.
stoners.
You want to
yeah,
go?
exactly.
You wanna
Come
That's
on
go?
over here.
that's the perfect fucking market.
Totally.
But I think what it comes down to is like YouTube has to like engineers have to figure out a fucking like super crazy algorithm.
There's a whole different like Facebook and YouTube that like big companies get. Like there's like you have access if you were on like that premier shit. You go in, you can target and retarget shit. There's like a whole nother plane. So what it's really saying is that YouTube isn't doing enough Facebook does it currently, where you can really target.
Yeah,
shit.
yeah,
YouTube
yeah.
doesn't do it yet. So
And
they're
that's
just saying
why-
they're just saying, hey, you gotta like step up.
And that's why Facebook is fucking Nazis that fucking work with our government to fucking control the world and fucking make it so if I look at my phone.
we just lost a sponsor.
If
Stop
I
it.
look at fucking Amazon, if
Stop
I look at for fucking some new
Yeah,
Nikes, and then I go on Facebook, somehow those same Nikes pop up on my feed. I'm like, you fucking assholes, dude.
I
Like,
love
no, you'll
when
be at
that
the store.
happens, 'cause
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like,
To buy
oh, I
them
do
and
want to buy
everything.
that dress.
Yeah.
I know.
By the 5th time, you're like, I'm buying it. Click, click.
I'm on it.
It's
no,
happening.
that to me, that's like fuck that. Like you're going too far now. Like it's like
Unless
fuck.
you really want those shoes, and you're like, oh.
You'll do it.
I want those shoes,
$32,
bro. But let
happened
it be
before.
a mail
on
from
me.
New Jersey. Okay.
Let it be on me, player. I don't want to fucking. I don't want Facebook to tell me this shit.
It is
There's
crazy.
these-
I'm
It's
just
There's
crazy.
these
scrolling, like,
Rocky
I would do
Balboa
that.
boxer briefs that I want. that
So,
are
but-
out, too.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, isn't that a form of censorship? If you get to decide what content, like you get to narrow down your shit that far, because no one's gonna pick anything that has any risk attached to it.
Honestly,
I don't think that's
sorry.
true. I think that like most like companies like end game is to make money, and so
100%.
they know that people like it's not like
it's like I also don't give a fuck if it's a company and we're talking about their ads.
Oh, I give a fuck. They send me checks.
Yeah, cool, but
Yeah.
like I'm never gonna take.
It
like,
is cool,
We just
Rory.
happen
I'm
to
not
have
gonna
one of
take-
those
every
checks.
month.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna take a censorship like argument from a Mercedes or a YouTube. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna just have that conversation with you about that.
Well,
Like,
what happened? This is what happened when these companies pulled their money. What happened is it affected everybody, not because they started this like target marketing or whatever, but because there's less money to go around. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So just simply, so everyone suffers right off top. Like everyone, from the most wholesome shit to the most risque shit, every single person suffers just because the ads all got pulled. You know what I mean? And then as they come back, the format in which they come back is going to, how YouTube deals with that. And YouTube has always been a company that has been like apolitical and not been involved in that like sharing information with the government and being like,
the whole tech industry is like that.
yeah.
Like that whole thing with the iPhone where they wouldn't like let the government crack that iPhone.
Yeah. Well, it's more like Facebook has
They're
been
all like, hey, we cannot let them in because they will not protect that information. Will be hacked to fuck. If we create like a backdoor in an iPhone
we
or
do
a
this,
YouTube
yeah.
or whatever, like they're in.
Yeah.
You guys are fucking morons. We're not telling you how to get in.
But it's like, okay, so that's like them protecting their own asses. Well, fuck, I'm too high to fucking maintain. I was gonna say some poignant ass shit right there, player. No, I don't know. I
Phone it. All right.
Phone it.
yeah.
No.
It's gone. What else? What else are we talking
What
about?
else you wanna talk about?
No, but I think it's like seriously like the way they implement the ad money in the future and the way that they've set that up is going to dictate whether or not YouTube joins companies like Facebook, who are known for sharing information with the government. Unlike Apple and iPhones and some of the other companies in the Bay Area, like Facebook is open door. Like y'all can have whatever the fuck.
There's been no tangible difference to the channel, like on our level. We're like,
There's been a tangible difference to the checks and the revenue. not enough for me to notice to where I'm like, it motivates me to put out more content, honestly.
Right.
But it's like, I recognize that's like, you know what I mean? Like you can't count on shit like that. You know what I mean? Like it's especially doing what I do. It's like, okay, well, all right, figure some other shit out. You know what I mean? Because there's always going to be like whatever jug you figure out, they're going to find a way to fuck it up for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether it's the government or fucking, major corporations, fucking someone's going to fuck up that good money for you somehow. So make sure you got another fucking source of it around the corner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a valuable lesson. Yeah, take that shit to the bank. Message. Shit. Okay, man. Fuck, we podcasted. That was pretty good, huh? How'd you guys feel about that?
It was good. It was
All the
I
podcasting?
like hanging out with these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel
Shannon.
like I have more questions for these two though.
Yeah.
Like on some, go back to some comedy shit. 'Cause we
Yeah.
just like
Okay. Yeah.
we're talking about AdSense. And
Fair
shit.
enough. Yeah.
You know what I'm
Fair enough.
I felt like I was handling political stuff very well.
Yeah, you were.
Killing
I
it,
think,
dude. Shannon
You
was
were.
topical
It's
as
like,
fuck.
yeah, you really
Like, her
picked
topical
two good
material is fire.
comments.
Are you guys
for
booked?
political.
For
Yeah. What do you? Let's promote some shit. What do you
Yeah,
guys got
that's what I'm
coming up?
saying.
What do you guys want to promote?
I don't know. You didn't let me keep my phone.
I know.
We took your phones. Yeah, we put them in a basket.
grab the phone? Grab her phone.
The first thing we took away.
What is it?
It's okay. I don't.
Mine's the green one.
I've got nothing to.
I got a pretty big June, like every weekend in June.
Yeah.
Yeah, doing something else.
And you fucking
We got some local folks. Tell them about Woodham's.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. You
Tell
run
'em about your show.
You run the best open mic in the Bay Area, which is
let's
Woodham's every
let's
Monday
call
night.
it an intertwined experience of Caravan and Woodham's. Let's not let Caravan fall.
Yeah.
Right?
I like Caravan.
Woodham's is tight though.
Oh, I'm sorry, I got my phone. I forgot where I was at. I didn't know what I was doing here.
Pete,
Tell them about it.
Yeah.
We got local people
phone
that might not
is-
know about it. We'll see a lighter real quick.
oh, sorry. There you go. Pete,
Monday nights, right? 9
Monday
o'clock?
nights, 9 o'clock. Yeah, it's like the funnest thing to do sometimes.
No, yeah, it's my favorite open mic.
Even when it's not. Oh, you guys weren't there at the beginning. Somebody, you know that old lady that's always there. That lady that's always there. She looks like Tales from the Crypt.
no.
She
Fuck.
look,
I don't know. I really don't know.
Are you
But-
Tom?
So you know who she looks like? She looks like Travis Denley's mom. I've said that before. And the other day she goes, "Who was that guy that doesn't come anymore?" And it was Travis that she was talking about. So then she gets me going, and we just start going back and forth and stuff like that. And then I'm just ranting and raving about how popular.
No, let me see that lighter. Bro.
How popular Woodham's is getting. I'm like, it's just too popular. We got to take the ad out of Metro. There's too many people here. There were 7 fucking people there. You know? And it just, but those 7 made it just like crazy. And then everybody else shows up. The first hour of Woodham's is just horrible. The first and the last hour.
The last hour will
horrible.
test you as a
Yeah.
human being.
Yeah. And it tests me too.
Oh,
Everyone's
yeah, I
like,
can't imagine
"Hey,
being responsible.
I'm like 8
for
shots of Jameson in. Hey, what kind of shot you want? We'll get Sailor. All right, we're gonna get 2 Sailors, and then we're gonna do a shot of dude, it's like, come on.
Yeah, that's why.
My
But
Tuesdays suck.
you hit it like, you know, sometimes at like 10:45, 11:15.
Mhm.
There's like this little wave. Maybe there was like a Rooster
It was a
show
good
or
run.
some other show that
It's a
night
good
where
little
everyone
run.
comes out and you hit this nice little pocket. There's like 50 people in there.
Yeah.
And someone's cooking and it's just the shit. You're just like, yeah. But then sometimes you get mailed a 4-page letter from one of these comics. and you have to read it. You have to read it and talk
You
about
give
it.
one guy your address.
I'll tell you what.
address, bro. That's the most threatening thing about it is that he mailed it to your house.
Or did he hand deliver it?
I
Did
bet
he
you
mail it to
he
you?
showed up,
I mean,
wrote the address down. Well, there's a stamp on it.
I was trying
Providing-
to throw people off the
It's a
trail. I'm
stamp
saying
that-
Providing a little
stamped.
context, he runs an open mic, creates enemies with crazy comedians. One of these comedians sent him a 4-page written letter, front and back.
3
it's
pages.
well written.
3 page.
It's a well written letter.
Yeah.
Well, it's well
I agree.
He
crafted.
probably had to go to the store to buy binder paper.
I
first,
was like,
you
that
know?
shit.
It's ripped out of a notebook.
That's
Yeah.
intent.
It's
You know what I
all
mean?
A
Like,
notebook.
I don't write post-its.
There
If
might
I
have
write
been
a
a first draft, bro.
if I write a post-it,
That
I'm gonna
was the
kill you.
rewrite.
You
You
know
got
what I'm
the
saying?
He riffed it.
I was like, damn, I haven't read anything like
So that's
this
what
on
Pete has to
binder
deal
paper
with.
since
Yeah.
high
Yeah.
school.
Yeah, no shit.
I don't get any mail at all.
When
but
did
then I get
did you
that.
start like running a show though? Like when were you like, okay, I'm gonna do comedy, but now I'm like, hey, I'm gonna run a show. Was it immediate or something you like recognized value in and started doing later?
Or was there like no shows out here?
When I first started, I wanted to do. To me, comedy was like SNL stuff. Like I'd watch that with my friends, like early Sherry O'Terry days, Will Ferrell, like Horatio Sanz, Jim Brewer.
Oh, Jim
who
Brewer.
Just like
Dude, remember his show on
they,
Sirius?
they fucked up that with him. Yeah,
Yeah.
They didn't get along. A lot of people didn't get along on that show. So that's what I liked. I liked being funny as a group. Like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
4 of us, let's go and let's make these skits. And then I saw Johnny Sanchez on Comedy Central, and he said this line. He said, and so I started to ran, and I go, dude, that sounds like who I'm around all the time. You know, Mexicans that speak English that don't speak English. You know, so I started to ran. The cops came, so I started to ran, and I go, that's it. That was like, I just want stand up from there on out. Stand up.
Stand up,
Yeah, stand up. And then
That's such an absurd way
When
to
is
say
this?
it.
When is this? Like where were you?
that
at?
was when I was maybe 13, 14.
Oh shit!
you know?
So you okay? Shit.
Yeah, and then I had messaged. I was online one night, and this guy named White Chappelle from New York, weirdest name, sends me a message because I had a cartoon.
White Chappelle.
I had a cartoon
That's
design of Jerry Seinfeld on stage, little cartoon character of him with a mic like that. This guy goes, "Are you a comedian?" I go, "No, but I want to try it." I was like 24 years old. The guy sends me a message. He goes, "You should try all these spots." Sounds the improv, Cobb's, punchline, Roosters, Tommy T's.
T's, yeah.
So I go, sounds like improv. Want to do comedy? Can I do comedy there? It's like,
I believe I'd be a valuable.
The fuck.
No, you can't do it here. I was like, well, who do you got doing comedy here? How's anyone? I was like furious. So then I finally emailed Roosters, and it was during their the New Talent Comedy Showcase.
Was it still Heather?
It was
that
still,
point?
it was still
Wow.
Heather, yeah. And so I messaged
Heather's
Heather
in here.
around January, and she goes, she was the only one that responded, and she goes, nope, we're in the middle of a competition now, so you can't really do it. We don't have any time for you. Basically, I just gave up. I go, well, I tried to do, I hit up places. And so then in May, I got a message from Heather saying, hey, we're about to be finished with our competition. Do you want to sign up for the open mic night? And I was like, yeah. She goes, all right, June 26th. That's your night. And I was like, cool, I got this. And then, boom, she sends me back. She goes, confirmed. And I go, oh, shit.
It's happening. Dude, so Roosters was one of the first spots? Is that the
First spot. I brought
Roosters shows.
I brought 75 people on my first night.
Damn.
I don't even know if I brought them. Just 75 people wanted to see me do it. So I had to do 12 minutes my first time. I wrote all, and I just started to write.
You got 25 minutes.
Started to write.
How many people?
Right.
75. You have to bring.
Came up. I was that
Holy
guy.
shit.
I was that guy that I hate now. I was like, whatever.
You're like, I
gotta piss.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Okay, shit.
And so I was like, well, I gotta piss too. So
But keep
Well,
going.
I did all that. I did all that
I
time. and
peed twice
I
already.
wrote all these jokes. I wrote jokes about what a coincidence that all the midgets and the Munchkins and Wizard of Oz, they're also good singers and dancers. I had jokes about that. I had jokes about, like, oh, you can get 8 pictures on your Facebook. Because remember they did, or on your MySpace, there was like a code. You enter a code to get more than one photo profile. So I just wrote stuff about that.
Rudimentary HTML before your
And
picture.
as soon as I got on stage, I just threw all that out. And I was just like naturally just trying to entertain these people. That everybody was there. A lot of my friends were there. So I was like, I can't tell them jokes. I'm just gonna talk about.
You still do that
everything.
now too.
Yeah,
Like we did that the Pizza Factory or Willow Glen Pizza Factory with our guy
With
you know what I
Frank?
mean? Yeah.
yeah.
And
I did about 10 minutes.
you did 10 minutes on that fucking stupid fucking mural.
downtown picture
And
of
people
Willow
were
Glen.
dying. Yeah, that was good. Who was the first like Pete Munoz type character that you met that like was running his own open mic where you started working shit out? Like who was that dude? Or
There
did
was-
that not exist? So you were like, I'm gonna create my own shit.
There wasn't that.
Like he
there
was
was
saying.
nothing here. So
There was no, like,
my
open-
first year of comedy, I did 8 shows. Like if I did 8 shows now, you'd think I died.
Yeah, man.
So there was. I did the first next show that I did after that was Roosters again in August.
Oh
So
shit.
I went
Okay.
June and then August is when I did another show. There was nothing here. There was a guy named Crazy Boy Marvin who I linked up with early on, who taught me good and bad. Yeah,
Not
he
to be-
was.
yeah.
This guy would host his show and headline the show. Excuse me.
That's
So
always a good move.
I learned a lot of good and
your
bad.
headliner, me.
Learned a lot of good and bad. I met Dan Wilson. I met Richard Kiss.
Okay.
All these guys that don't really do it that much. I
What
met
year is this? When is
Tina
this?
Allen. Let me see. I'll be
Tina.
11 years in June. So
Oh shit. Okay.
Damn.
So a while ago.
2006, 2005.
I was in high school then.
When I started thinking. I was 25 years
For real?
old.
Shit.
Yeah.
So I mean, I met
I was 55 years old.
Brendan Lynch. I started right after. I met Butch 6 months after I started doing comedy.
Butch, yeah.
And
I never met Butch.
we would just take your time meeting Butch.
Yeah.
No, but
It'll happen,
we used
Butch.
to we used to run and do.
We're destined to
We used
meet.
to go to San Francisco, and that's it. There wasn't a lot, and so I was like, why am I like getting off of work and driving to Tommy T's or driving to Pepper Belly's, which is in Fairfield?
Dude,
Why am I driving to these places for 4 minutes right after work, killing myself? So I'm like, I'm gonna start doing stuff here, and it was Beer Run Bobby who got me. I know. That's
These
very.
people have the best
People
names.
don't know.
It-
No,
Why
people
don't we
hey,
have
hold
good
on,
names
hold on. Beer Run
anymore?
Bobby.
I want
People
a
don't know.
name.
If someone's from San Jose area, they all don't know who Beer Run Bobby is. He had a public access show.
Him and Marvin were friends. We're very good friends.
Oh.
Crazy Marvin?
Dude,
Crazy Boy
Beer
Marvin.
Run
Crazy
Bobby's
Boy
like a
Marvin
Yeah.
and Beer Run Bobby.
snow leopard. Like people saw him like once and he just disappeared.
Yeah.
But he had a public access show that ended after its illustrious run of like 12 episodes where he projectile vomited all over the snack section at the Capitol Drive-In. and just puked. And then he threw up some weird signs with his hand, and then they just ran credits, and then the show was canceled.
This is a positive story.
It's Beer and Bobby.
This is a very rare positive story.
Okay.
About Beer and Bobby.
That was a positive story. I feel like
Well, he
that
went
was
to
a very
jail after
positive
that.
story. Oh, did he?
Yeah, he
shit.
went to prison, I believe. Yeah.
Okay, goddamn.
So Beer and Bobby got me my first show at Sodini's Pizza in Santa Clara. where
Almost died.
I got paid in pizza and I got paid in beer. I would just get beer all night. I would get 2 pizzas a night. I get a pizza before the show, so I'd give all the comics. It was a Wednesday night, and I got a pizza to take home. So after Roosters, everybody would come because it'd be right down the street. So that's where I learned to riff. That's where I learned to improv. That's where I learned to deal with hecklers. I had that show for about 2 years, and it was I owe so much to that show. And one thing that I like about comedy is how everybody comes together. Like, it brings everybody together. Like the friends that I've made and we've all made from it.
When I started with this shit, I feel like I signed up at some summer vocational high school.
Definitely meet a
now
lot
I just
of
hang
people,
with all these cool ass people.
Yeah,
they have a particular skill.
That's what I like about it.
You know what I mean? It's
that's
like an instant community.
I learned so much from that room, like not having to pack it out, not having to do anything, just get up there and host. And we would start the show at 10 o'clock, go for 2 hours. That's where I learned a lot of my stuff early on. It was 6 months in.
That's awesome. Shannon, what when you first what was your first spot that you just kept hitting up?
Agave. It's a Mexican.
They don't do that anymore. I heard about Agave a lot.
And I only went there for 6 months.
When you talk about this, I picture
Used to work the
a
door at
training
Agave.
montage.
The door.
Like she's just at Agave, just fucking working it out. You know?
Is Agave where they got swirls and shit and people get shitty?
No, that's a Keys.
Oh, that's
Keys.
Oh, now I want to swirl.
But Agave was cracking, because I always hear about it.
It had its good nights and bad nights, like any comedy show. But that's where I started and felt comfortable, and I was friends with the woman that ran it, and I helped her do the door.
It had the brightest spotlight in the business.
Oh, for real? Just blinding.
Yeah,
you're heating up.
I got to Roosters
you could
and
never
I was
tell
this
if it was
nothing.
you could never tell if there was a crowd there or not. You're just
I see kneecaps. I see the 4 kneecaps.
It was good though. It was good for me. I didn't tell anybody I did comedy for 8 months.
What made you want to start doing comedy anyway?
Really, man?
Yeah, I know.
She had no choice.
Because
Shannon Murphy,
my shit's easy. I did the battle rap shit and I aged out of it. And I recognized that comedy was
you turned 31. It was over.
32-year-old rap battle.
Although Head Ice, how old is Head Ice?
Hey, it doesn't matter. He's ice. You know what I mean? There's fools that could transcend that. I'm not one of them. You don't want to be 35-year-old telling a 25-year-old how much fucking doper you are than them. It's a bad look, dude. But so that's what I'm saying. For me, accurate. It's easy. For you, what was it he said? He seen some dude said some cross-ass half Mexican shit and was like, I want to tell jokes. what the fuck?
Johnny Sanchez.
What the fuck made you want to go out and tell jokes?
I don't know. I just always loved comedy, and I think when you love comedy, maybe you sometimes think about doing comedy.
Yeah.
And then it just was.
I had no idea. I had no idea where to go.
Yeah.
No idea where to go. No idea who to call.
And that's how I found Agave. I was like, oh, this is the only open mic I can find in San Jose.
And that proved that you had no idea where to go.
Yeah.
I'm at Agave.
So, did you know you wanted to do comedy from a super young age then?
No, I hadn't even thought. I was going to go to nursing school. I was well on my way to going to
think of all the drugs you passed up.
Hello, nurse.
You had access to drugs right now, Shannon? You fucked up.
I know, I did fuck up.
You're drinking an IPA. You could have had fucking Provigil and shit.
Something. I fucked up.
We're disappointed.
When did you decide then? Were you
she wanted the drugs, that's why.
Were you in high school then, or were you
No, it was after college that I even thought about doing it.
No shit.
Yeah. It was maybe 4 or 5 months, maybe 6 months, of me thinking about I wonder what it's like to do comedy. Yeah. And then before I
still
went
have that
did
question.
it.
I wonder what it's like. I sit on it. I was still trying to figure it out.
All right, so I have a fucked up perception of my own performances. I always think I kill it. So did you kill it your first time and we're like, oh, this is it, I'm fucking doing this shit? Because me, I felt like the first time I was like, woo! I was like, I fucking shut shit down, player. And I was however true or not that is, probably not, but whatever, you know what I mean? I got laughs. I got laughs, right? And just to me, right off the bat, getting a laugh was enough validation for me to be like, okay, I'll continue to do this.
Well, like when you're brand new and you get any kind of chuckle, you're like, yeah,
I'll figure
I
this
There's
out.
did
different
it.
levels of killing.
can
But
work with
like,
that.
I was, oh man, I'm still a quiet person. But like when I first started, I was like, hey guys.
Oh no shit, really?
Anyone who wants
That's
to believe
funny, 'cause
that,
you
hold
got
on,
hella
hold
mic
on.
control.
Anyone who wants to believe Shannon Murphy's a quiet person, go to her Facebook page. Just hang out there for a little. Hang out there for like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
See if you buy any of that shit. Evil lurk, Shannon. I'm on to you.
No,
I
but
get
you,
it.
yeah,
I
but
understand.
you got great mic control and shit. Did that like take
Oh.
time to learn?
It did. I was not very good for like, I don't know. When did I start to get good, Pete? I'm still not good.
I'd
but
say
I,
about
like,
a year
started
ago.
to get
Probably about a year
good.
ago.
Yeah.
No
like,
shit.
I was maybe like
Well,
That's like when we
maybe
showed
like
up.
2 years
So
in
Shannon
when
was
I
like always
like,
good in our eyes.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
there was no
her
awkward
first,
phase.
her
We're
first
just like, we can
weekend
learn
at the
from her.
improv, you're like texting me, and
Yeah,
and
Pete was giving me advice when I was like
She was
hosting.
like-
I was like, what do I do?
you're like, I said the headliner's name wrong, and I'm just like sitting there.
Did you? That's
I'm like
sick.
sitting there on the couch, and I'm
That's
just
sick.
like, do this, do that.
He
don't do
gave
this,
me a
don't do that.
script to like
script.
do, and it was like perfect. He's like, say this. This is what you say.
No
It was
shit.
fucking stressful.
You
I
said
was
the
so
headliner's
scared.
name wrong. That's awesome.
No, not the headliner's
Oh,
name
that would be so
wrong.
much better.
I was
Change
scared
the
to
story
say-
right now because that's an awesome story.
How many
I
years
fucked
had you
up.
been doing comedy then?
It'll be 4 years in August.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Because I feel like we've been doing it too. We started coming around. You guys around a year into
least
it,
a
and
year,
then
yeah.
you were already fucking cooking when we.
You guys
came
were
in.
cool as fuck too, by the way.
Pete
you easily
took-
could have blown
Me
us
and
up.
Pete went hella places because I knew Pete from music shit. He hosted a show.
Dude, one of my
for,
first things was the Santa Cruz trip where we went up and did we
that
did that
was
furniture show. I call them furniture shows when you're like, I
Rosie's.
played
We
to
did
some of the
Rosie's.
finest furniture in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, ooh, it's mahogany. Dope.
Yeah, you picked me up, and
Mahogany loves
we were
me.
just drinking on the way there. I go, oh, this is gonna be fun.
Allegedly.
Yeah, but
Rory doesn't drink.
You know what? Who drinks over 17? That's weird. That'd be a weird thing to
that'd
do.
be a weird ass thing to do. But when I started right off the
17
bat,
looks hella straight.
or within like the
Yeah.
first 9 months, Pete had hosted a show for Rory. Wanted me to do comedy for a long time.
Bro, you and Cossack, I talked. It was
Yeah.
like we're doing this. Come on.
But then Pete hosted a show for me and Kung Fu Vampire at
Yep.
the Rock Bar, which is not around anymore. And then me and Pete and like would just go to hella mics. Like we went all the way to SAC to do fucking like
I
10
thought you
minutes.
guys were dating for a
Yeah.
while.
I took a
Damn.
picture. I took a picture
We were
of
cool with
Dan
it.
on
It was all right.
stage.
We were cool with it. It was
I
all
took a
right.
picture of Dan, and it was just like he was turned around, and it was just his legs, and you could just see his legs in the crowd, but you could tell it was you. And I go, I took
Pete,
a picture
Pete
of
could
you,
tell it was you.
and then
Just
you
by
gave
your
me your number, and
legs.
you go, oh, send it to me, send it to me. It was, I think it was his whole body. All right,
He was just focused on my legs
Pretty
because my
sure.
calves are fucking
It was
ripped.
you like leaning in, you know.
He's a fucking track coach. He focuses on the calves.
like,
dude.
damn,
like,
look
oh,
at
he's
those
got
calves.
cankles. He's gonna be a
I
good
actually
runner.
made that picture a T-shirt that I wear to bed every night. It's a long nightgown that I wear to bed.
Can't
He
go
looked
back
at your
there.
calves and he's like, he's been.
But then he gave me his phone number, and then we started talking every now and then, here and there, and then that's kind of where it started.
Yeah, and we would go to fucking every mic that was around, like
Easily.
within any kind of driving distance.
Tommy T's all the time.
Brainwash, fucking up.
That's
up
the
to
first
Santa
place I ever
Cruz.
did
Really?
say,
Brainwash?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first place we went. Was
Brainwash. No, the Brainwash was tight because we were late to Brainwash, and it's like 6:30.
Yeah.
We hadn't signed
Tony.
up. Nothing, no sign up, and Dan's like, "All right, Pete,
We gotta find out how
he goes,
cool Pete
we're
is."
We got about to find out how cool you are." We walk in, and
Yeah, but that's your guy.
And
That's your
Tony
guy.
and
Yeah,
Anthony,
yeah, yeah.
they go, do you guys want to go up next? And I go, nah, it's cool. We'll wait a little bit.
Shit.
You know, like
Yeah, you can go whenever
like,
you want.
yeah.
They're like, you want a beer?
Yeah,
Like, oh, we
yeah.
got a picture.
They
I was
brought
like,
a picture of beer, but
oh,
then
Pete's the fucking
but
man.
then
Yeah, that's
but
what's
then
up.
there's these guys that have been waiting forever, right? They were
Fuck
signed
'em.
up,
Fuck
and they
'em.
show up, and they go, well, we were here kind of earlier, and we're just kind of wondering when we're gonna go up. And Anthony goes, you guys are right here, and you're right there. Thanks for showing up. You know, straight up, and like we're like way up on the list.
Yo, it was and it was cool because the first time we went there, we were those dudes that were like waiting till like fucking 4 hours to fucking
yeah,
go until
I
5 minutes.
remember
We'll
being
go
brand
next.
new and waiting till the very
Yeah,
end of the mic, and it's like finally
So I
get to
love
do
Tony
2.5
and Anthony.
minutes.
We walk in to give it a hug. Oh, Pete, come here, man. Give me a hug. And I was like,
Tony
oh,
Sparks,
Oh,
best,
yeah, yeah.
probably best fucking host.
Easily.
They call him the Godfather of. No, what do they call him?
Yeah.
Godfather of comedy.
Yeah, that motherfucker.
Pete's the angry stepdad of Bay Area comedy.
Yeah.
Angry. Yeah.
Hell yeah. For sure. I'll take that.
Hey.
Definitely.
I'll take that. Take that.
Definitely
Good thing.
angry.
All right, are we fucking done? Because I'm fucking
All right,
high.
yeah.
And I've been eating granola bars. Well, I've been chewing in the fucking thing. I had to pee and I got
Enjoy
real
the
sick
chewing.
for a second. And I had to sit
He's
down.
gotta pee. I feel like he's gotta
I've
pee.
been holding it.
That's why I'm sitting anchor to keep him in here.
I started sweating. I don't know if I looked real pale to you guys. I think it's because I've been smoking all these backwoods to my face all day long. It's irresponsible. It's irresponsible for podcasting. I gotta say, not the move. Counterproductive podcast. Hey guys, thanks for fucking listening. Have a good night. Psh.